Today for day 8, I'd like to talk about my work experience. So after finishing my PhD, I was hired by a military contractor, the Center for Naval Analyses, and who does research for the U.S. Navy. And for the first 3 years, I worked at their headquarters near Washington, D.C. And then in the final 2 years, I took a very unique position where I was placed on site, living on board a U.S. aircraft carrier. A very interesting position indeed. And there I worked as essentially a data scientist, reporting directly to the admiral, the highest ranking member of that aircraft carrier. And so here I have some photos of me standing on the deck while we're at sea. And the actual work itself, I can only speak about in very broad generalities. As you can imagine, it's classified secret military work. But the living conditions are really what got to me there. So on an aircraft carrier, there's no internet, there's no cell phones, there's no communication with the outside world except for very brief windows when maybe I could squeeze out an email to my parents. There's no personal life, there's no weekends. You can ask anyone in the Navy, you're pretty much working every waking hour of the day when you're at sea. And needless to say, there's no dating for sure, there's no alcohol or hanging out. For stress relief or recreation, that usually boils down to people watching a movie on their computer or finding some time to get into the gym. So as a result, my mental health deteriorated greatly in that job. I made a lot of rash, unwise decisions at that time, and the negative consequences of those decisions further compounded into worse mental health and more rash decisions that I regret now. This feedback loop continued until it culminated in the final decision for me to very rashly quit that job very abruptly. I just knew I could not continue in that position. That's the only thing that I thought at the time. I'm open to answering any questions about the circumstances regarding this time period. It was a very dark period for me. Maybe this is too much information, but my days were filled with thoughts of suicide. And I unwisely chose to quit as the fastest way for me to find relief. Before I continue with the rest of my story tomorrow, I just felt that I should state that despite my poor mental health, and despite the somewhat unpleasant and abrupt nature at which I disconnected my relationship with my previous employer, I was not let go for any sort of ethical violations. I was not fired for performance issues. In fact, on top of, giving all the deliverables which I was responsible for, I was even given awards for one particular project, which was one military award for a project which I did, which was considered very well done by the admiral. And that admiral even attempted to take me with him when he was promoted inside the military from his position at this carrier to a higher position in Hawaii. He wanted to take me with him, but that turned out to be infeasible. And so again, I know that this is not the best chapter of my life, but I do want to reemphasize that it was a voluntary decision due to personal reasons, not for work performance or anything like that. Anyways, in a complete change of tone, today I did days 20 and 21 of the CCNA course, spanning tree protocol, also considered to be a very difficult portion of the exam. Another portion which I strongly think is not taught the right way. It is an asynchronous and decentralized algorithm, but it is not taught as one, which is, I think it's to the discredit of learners everywhere that they're not learning how it actually works. But pretty much CCNA courses teach this in a dumbed down version, which is not reflective of how it actually works. Anyways, that's just my opinion as someone who knows how it actually works. Yeah, and so, tomorrow I'll continue with the rest of my story, what happened after that. Yeah.